10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Ninja vanish.
What's up?
What's up?
What's going on?
I just got back from town.
Back from town? Oh, you live out in the boondocks or something?
No, about 20 minutes from town.
Okay.
But, I got the little Yorkie with me today. Little Yorkie.
Mine's running around here somewhere.
Oh, really?
Oh, she's not in here. She was in here earlier. I got a little 8-month-old Chihuahua.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's 2.
Oh, yeah.
Then we got another dog. She's 5. So we got 2 of them.
Yeah, we got, my daughter has a cat. I've got the Chihuahua. And then we have a very large Labrador Retriever.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the dumbest fucking dog I've ever had in my entire life. He is the sweetest dog in the world, but he is so dumb. He is just, yeah. He's a sweetheart. He loves the kids. Kids like he's a great dog. He's a great guard dog too, because he weighs about 87 pounds and he's huge, and he barks loud, and but he is literally the dumbest animal I've ever had in my life. And I don't know what he's probably almost 4 now at this point.
Okay.
And he's just a big dumb thing that just, yeah.
So hold on. So he's either dumb or he's sweet. Which one is it? It can't.
Oh, he's both. He's a sweet. Why am I blanking on the name? From Of Mice and Men.
Yes.
Not Lenny, right? Lenny.
Yes, Lenny.
That's my dog. That's my dog, Lenny.
Okay.
Really big, really dumb, but really sweet.
Okay.
That's my dog.
All right.
His name is not Lenny. I probably should have named him Lenny. Would that I had known he would turn out to be that dumb, I might have named him Lenny. But no, his name is Mooncake.
This one's Max, and the girl, she's Bonnie.
Okay.
So that's dog, but...
By the way, for anybody, Mooncake came from a show that to this day I love that got canceled too soon called Final Space. I don't know if anybody out there has watched it. This was a show that I think got 3 seasons, ended kind of on a cliffhanger and got canceled. It was one of the best animated shows I've ever seen. It was on from like 2015 to 2019, something like that, somewhere around there. It's called Final Space. There was a character on the show who was a incredibly powerful space alien that the main character named after his childhood worm that he kept in a jar called Mooncake. And it's this. Anyway, I named my dog after an animated character, Mooncake.
That ain't bad.
Some of you guys out there remember Final Space. If you don't, I highly recommend you watch it. It's fantastic. It's sci-fi. It's an animated sci-fi show. It's got a lot of heart, and it's also incredibly funny.
What's it called?
Final Space.
Okay, Final Space. I'll
highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. I talked about it a lot when it was on. It's a great show. I think it only made it 3 seasons though, and then it got canceled, which sucks. But
okay. Now, did you make sure everything worked this time so we don't get cut off?
To my knowledge, I haven't had any internet problems since last week.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that there's nothing else that happens. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes at this point. But
Because a lot of people are messaging, wondering, wait, why is the stream down? Because Angelo, he messaged me right after, like during it, and he was like, "Are you guys still alive?"
yeah,
I'm like, "Yeah, we're still alive." But
I lost internet last week, and everything went shit. But it didn't. I've done shows on Monday, on Wednesday, on Friday. Did 2 shows yesterday. Haven't had any internet problems since then. So
I told Jared that's probably just because we ain't done the show in 2 weeks. That's why it was just bad luck.
yeah, probably. But anyway, we're here.
Hmm.
And I don't know. Yeah, that's it. We're here.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, guys. Have a great weekend. No, we got a few things to talk about. I don't remember what we were going to talk about last week, so I'm not even going to try and remember and try and catch up on things that were missed last week. Because I think the biggest thing we talked about last week, which I think we did end up talking about before the stream got cut off, which was kind of going over X-Men 97, going over the whole season and how good it was. And we did talk about that before the stream got cut off. And that was kind of the main thing that I wanted to talk about last week was that. So we got that done. So I think we're good. And we can move on. The big thing this week is the new Mad Max movie. Can't say that word.
Film if I can't pronounce movie.
Yeah. Furiosa. What's it called? Furiosa. A Mad Max tale or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but
I think it's Mad Max Tales Furiosa story. I think is what something like
whatever.
that.
Yeah, whatever it is. I watched that today.
Ooh.
I got to see it. There's not much to spoil because it's a prequel and we already know how it. Like if you've seen Fury Road, like this is a prequel to Fury Road. It pretty much ends where Fury Road starts. Kind of. It'll make sense when you watch the movie. So there's not really anything to spoil. It's basically just who Furiosa is and how she ended up being the character we see in Fury Road. Like, that's what this is. And, of course, Chris Hemsworth is in it. He plays Lord Dementus, who's one of the warlords outside of... Lord... what's his name? The main bad guy from Fury Road and from Road Warrior and...
I have not watched the road in a long time.
It's not Lord Humongous. It's the other one. What's his name? Why am I blanking? Somebody in the chat knows what I'm talking about. He's the bad guy from Fury Road and one of the other Mad Max movies. Anyway, he's in this too. So you see how Furiosa ends up there at the Citadel where she was at in Fury Road with him and how she ends up becoming, the badass that she is. And doing what she does, and we get like her story from the start when she's a little kid and how she ends up growing up in this oasis, and then gets kidnapped, and then ends up being traded off by different warlords. One of which is Chris Hemsworth, and then ends up with the one. Why am I blanking on his? I have to look this up.
Jen put Joe in the chat. Is what he put. Joe, is that his name?
Joe? No, it's his. Well, I mean, maybe Joe something. I got to look it up.
All right, go ahead.
He's been in 3 of the movies. Why can't I remember his freaking name?
But I've seen them all, but I'm blanking on it as well. I haven't watched Fury Road in 2, 3 years.
I gotta look it up. I gotta remember this dude's name because it's gonna drive me knucking futz.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Immortal Joe or Immortan Joe. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, him. So anyway, it goes through her, and it goes through her life until she's like up into her 20s. So it's just like the story of how she ends up being the character that we see in Fury Road. That being said, I will say the first act was pretty boring. It took me a while to get into what was going on, and it's a long movie. It's like a 2.5-hour movie, and the first act it's boring. The whole time that she's a kid is, to be honest, like, not that interesting. Like, I feel like that was 30 to 40 minutes of the movie. and I feel like that should have been about 15 minutes tops. Once she grows up and she's played by the what's her name? Anya Taylor-Joy, I think is her name. The movie gets much more interesting once she's grown up and more shit is going on, and there's more conflict and fighting, and there's more of a kind of a linear story being told. I feel like that first part of the movie, that first act of the movie, could have been shortened up a lot to make the movie a little bit tighter. I didn't feel like it needed to be 2 hours. It was 2 hours and 20 something minutes long. I feel like it didn't need to be, but maybe 2 hours at the most. So I feel like it could have been shortened up. That being said, once it gets into it, by the time you get her grown up, the movie gets really, really good. I liked it a lot. And it finishes off strong in the second 2 acts, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. And I'll have to watch it again, you know what I mean, to kind of gauge where I'm at with it. But to be honest, like, it's my least favorite Mad Max movie. Like, it's not bad, right? But certainly the only person in the whole movie that's really interesting and entertaining to watch is Chris Hemsworth's character. Like, he's really the only one that's like really fun and interesting to watch, and like makes you want to, like, you want to like watch his character and whatever else. It's Anya Taylor-Joy has never really been like a actress I've really cared about. Like, I thought she's been good in some things. I actually really liked her as Magic in that New Mutants movie. I thought that was just a huge waste of a movie, by the way, because it came out right as Fox had just got bought out by Marvel. That movie went through so many reshoots because it was a thing where they put it out and it was supposed to be kind of a horror movie, and then Fox saw it and was like, no, we can't make an X-Men a horror movie, so they made them reshoot half the movie, and then it got delayed because of the talks with Disney, and then in the end they were like, you know what, screw it, what we reshot, making it less of a horror movie, didn't test well at all. Go back to the original version where it's more of a horror movie and just release it, because we've made this movie, let's just put it out there, because we're about to lose all the X-Men anyway, because Disney's going to work it into their MCU, blah, 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 blah. And the movie they released was the original kind of more of a horror movie type version of New Mutants. And I thought it was fantastic. I really, really liked that movie. Oh, shit, Jared's here. Sorry, how long have you been there?
Pretty good while.
Shit, I just looked over and saw you. But I really like that movie a lot. I think it's just a waste that they put that movie out knowing we're never going to get more of those characters, because I thought overall they did a really good job with the cast of that movie. I think that's the best thing I've ever seen Anya Taylor-Joy in, was her playing Magic in that movie. Because other than that, I've seen her in a bunch of stuff, and I really don't care about her as an actress. And like she was
the Queen's Gambit, and that was pretty good. That series.
I never watched it. I heard it was good, but I never watched it. Like, she was good in Furiosa, but like there was nothing about her that made that character pop. Like, I feel like a lot of people could have played that character. Like in Fury Road, when Charlize Theron plays Furiosa, like, her character pops off the screen, right? She's a very
but she is a lot more physically intimidating female character than what's her name? She's tiny.
Yeah, she really is. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with Anya Taylor-Joy. I just don't particularly care about her. So, like I said, and most people in the movie are just nobodies that you've never seen, never heard of. It's about a lot of fucking stunt actors that are in this movie, that are just there. The only two, there's three main characters in this entire movie, and it's Furiosa, Immortan Joe, and Lord Dementus, which is Chris Hemsworth. Those are the only three like characters you will even remember their names in this movie. And only one of them is interesting to watch. Like I said, it is not a bad movie. If you like Mad Max movies, it's definitely worth watching. but I would say it's my least favorite Mad Max movie. You know, it was good, but it's still my least favorite.
Hey,
For
okay.
whatever that means.
Oh, that's a different topic. I did this, just a head swap.
Mhm.
That is the unmasked wasp head from the new 2-pack, and it looks great on this classified Lady J body.
You removed the black eye then?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to remove the black eye. Okay. And the bloody lip. Yep. No, it's a good movie. I recommend everybody check it out. If you like Mad Max movies, it's worth watching. I enjoyed it. Like I said, the first act was way too long. There wasn't enough interesting stuff going on in the first act. It could have been shortened by quite a bit because the first act's like 35 minutes long of her just being a kid before the grown-up version, Anya Taylor-Joy, even shows up in the movie. And that was just not as interesting at all. It just wasn't. So I feel like they could have shortened that up a bunch. But again, look, hey, I still enjoyed the movie. I still don't regret seeing it, right? But I mean, know what you're walking into. It's not going to blow everybody away, you know. So I guess take that for what you will. I liked it, but I mean, like, yeah, every other Mad Max movie I like better than this, you know. So I don't know. I'm trying not to be too down on it because I didn't dislike the movie, but you know, like it's not as good as the rest of them. So what do you? I'm not trying to trash the movie. I promise. Like if you liked the movie, somebody out there that watches this, awesome. I'm glad you liked it. I did too, but it's kind of the least best one.
I was going to say, the more you talk about it, the more downgrading it gets. So it's probably best to move on to another topic.
We'll just stop. Just stop that.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. Go see it. The other movie I watched this weekend was that new Netflix movie Atlas with Jennifer Lopez. That sci-fi movie about AI, humans versus AI.
Oh yeah, I forgot that.
So I will say, much better than I thought it was going to be. It really was. I'm not a big Jennifer Lopez fan. Like, I don't think she can act for shit.
The premise of the movies, I mean, like when I seen the trailers and stuff like that, the premise seems really cool, but then they're like, why the fuck they cast Jennifer Lopez?
Well, the premise of the movie is essentially iRobot.
Yeah.
Not quite, but basically iRobot. And the movie was very well done, good special effects. I liked the story. I liked the plot. I liked everything that was in it. And it was better than I thought it was going to be. However, I couldn't help but the entire movie going, man, you know, they really should have got Emily Blunt to play this, and it would have been a way better movie. Like, that's what I kept thinking. Because, like, an actual good actress to play this role, somebody who can't, because she's supposed to be a scientist who, over the course of the movie, kind of becomes badass. And I'm like, okay, well, Emily Blunt can pull off smart, and we've all seen Edge of Tomorrow. Emily Blunt can pull off badass, and she's a good actress. Like I kept thinking like this would be so much better a movie if it was her instead of Jennifer Lopez. But that being said, like I said, it was actually really good. I enjoyed it. Me and my wife watched it, and we both liked it, and it was way better than either one of us thought it was going to be. My wife likes Jennifer Lopez considerably more than I do, so she puts up with her movies more than I will. So to be fair, that's probably why she liked it as much as she did. But like I said, I liked it, and I was really expecting it to be a shit show with Jennifer Lopez in it, and I was pleasantly surprised. But yeah, it definitely could have been better had they got someone else, like pretty much anybody else, to be in this movie.
You got somebody off the street and been
Okay.
better.
I went and seen two movies. Since we're talking about movies we've seen this weekend, I went and seen two. Last night I went because I had to. I went and seen Garfield last night.
You had to. So.
Yes, I had to. I was forced against my will to take my little siblings to go see Garfield last
I
night.
do want to see that movie, by the way. I'm a huge Garfield fan, but
I would not recommend watching it because some of the jokes are not funny. Like I laughed. Me and my wife, we were literally sitting there, and we maybe laughed at one or two jokes. The rest of them are not funny. And there were parents that brought their kids, and none of them was laughing throughout the film.
Is it just a kids movie then?
It's a kids movie, yes. It's an animated kids movie. It's got
they can make an animated movie and still be good for everybody.
Yeah, I know. Well, because I mean, with Chris Pratt being in it, I kind of imagined it was probably going to be something like Super Mario Brothers was, which was a really good movie. Like, I really liked that movie a lot. It's just straight up a kids movie then.
Yeah, if you watch the trailer, you're basically watching the whole film. The trailers really gave you the entire film, so really there's no point at going to see the movie. If I'm gonna be honest. Plus, I actually, when we walked out of the theater, I told my wife, Chris Pratt gave a much better performance in Mario than he did here, because he was just very flat in the voice in Garfield.
Okay. Well,
you don't have anybody voice Garfield. It needs to be what's his name?
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. That's what I told her that Bill Murray should have come.
By the way, funny story. The guy that voiced Garfield in the cartoon is the same guy that voiced Peter Venkman in the Ghostbusters cartoon, and in the movie, Bill Murray played both those roles, Garfield and
that's funny.
Venkman. Just a little heads up there for those of you that are old enough to remember 80s cartoons.
Mm-hmm. I went back and I watched mostly 80s cartoons, which are really good.
No.
Other one,
look, this was not. I mean, Garfield was not a movie I was going to go to the movies to see. I'll wait till it's streaming somewhere and watch it. I'm not going to spend money on it. I wanted to see it, but I was never going to spend money on it.
Yeah, don't just wait for it to come on streaming. Do not go out in theaters and watch it, because if you got kids, sure, take them, but it's not really better. But I will. But the other movie I went to go see, because when you brought Emily Blunt, I'm like, oh, me and the wife, we actually went to go see Fall Guy.
Yes.
We went and saw that this past week as well. Actually, we went there. What was it? I think we went there Tuesday and watched it, because they do discount at the theater. Yeah. So we've seen that movie. It was really, really good.
So far, that's my favorite movie of the year.
Oh,
that's the movie I've had the most fun watching this year so far. It's Fall Guy.
Yeah.
It's been better than any other movie I've seen.
And you'll know how my wife really enjoyed the film when we walk out of the theater and she says, we've got to get that on DVD. So,
yeah. Oh, dude, it's already in HD, by the way. You could have just watched it on the website at home. But
I know, but we got it. It was like, what, $10 to go to the theater to watch it. So we went there and watched it.
No, dude, I love that movie, man. That movie's so much fun. It's just so much fun. And it's even more so if you, like me and Jared did, grew up watching Fall Guy. It makes it even
I am actually named after one of Colt Seaver's characters. So
yes.
No, you're not. You are.
Yes, he is. Yeah,
he is. I mean, Lee Major's character. Steven. Okay. My name was going to be Stephen Austin Rife. Yeah. My dad said no, so I got named after a character off Big Valley. My middle name.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, Steve Austin. Well, people assume you drink a lot of beer.
No, before no.
Before that was
the original.
They call him the bionic redneck because of Steve Austin, the $6 Million Man.
Yes, the wrestler.
No, God damn it, no. Before there was ever a wrestler named Steve Austin, there was Steve Austin, the Bionic Man.
Okay.
Played by Lee Majors back in the 70s. It was a very, very big, famous TV show.
Yep.
His name was Major Steve Austin. It was Major, right? He was a Major?
I can't remember.
I think he was Major. I think
he was critically wounded in like a plane crash. Yeah. And
was he a test pilot or? I can't remember what he was. He was military of some kind, and I think he was a major, if I remember right. Which is strange because he was played by Lee Majors, but maybe I'm just mixing that up. I don't know. Anyway,
you got Green Lantern's origin mixed up with the Greatest American Hero last night.
Maybe I'm mixing all kinds of shit up. But anyway, Steve Austin, the wrestler, is not the original Steve Austin.
Okay,
that's the point. What we're trying to say here.
Steve Austin took his name from the TV show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Steve Austin is not his real name.
I was gonna say, can you still message people, Matt, on like Messenger or something?
Yeah, why?
I was gonna say, message that show to me. I'll watch it whenever we're done here.
What show?
The one we were just talking about.
$6 Million Man?
Yeah, the Lee Majors. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just look up $6 Million Man. It's like it's there.
$6 Million Man. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. My uncle, he loves a $6 Million Man. He is crazy about that show.
Okay, when NASA astronaut USAF Colonel Steve Austin was severely injured in a crash, so he's a colonel.
Yeah, the $6 Million Man. Every time he made a punch, it made like a sound effect, like the slow motion. Yes, now I know what you're talking about. He's shown me a lot of reruns of that show, and he actually got a chance to meet.
Like growing up, if Matt's like me, you'd run in slow motion. Going,
yep.
Yeah, I know. He's a big fan of the show. He's got the entire series on DVD, and actually got to meet Lee Majors twice. He did.
I did send you a link though on Messenger though.
Okay, thanks.
But it was for a different show. It was the first show you were asking about.
Okay.
Space.
Yes. But yeah, I thought whenever you said Steve Austin.
Oh wait, no, I sent it to Jared by accident, not you. Never mind. Now I sent it to you.
So what I get?
Just a warning.
I sent you a link that was meant for him.
Okay, just a fair warning, ladies and gentlemen. This might be a sign that we might go dead here in the next 10 minutes. So.
You never know, man. Shit
True.
goes weird. But anyway.
All right.
Oh, did y'all see the Beetlejuice 2 trailer?
Yes.
I didn't know.
I'm very excited.
I'm
I've said this many times. Tim Burton is not exactly my flavor, right? But there are some movies he's done very well. Beetlejuice was one of those movies. I don't like when he puts his Tim Burton spin on everything he touches, but for some things it works really well. Beetlejuice, it works really, really well, and I'm looking forward to Beetlejuice a lot. I really am.
Well,
I love that movie. Grew up on that movie. And the trailer looked great. It was, we got that teaser like a month and a half ago that was just real quick. It was like 60 seconds and didn't really show anything. This goes in depth a little bit more. It's about a 2-minute trailer, give or take. So we get a little bit more of the story, and looked really good. And then but that dropped, I don't know, Monday or Tuesday or something like that. We also got the new Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley trailer that comes out this summer, which I'm also very excited about because I fucking love those movies, as any good 80s kid should. The Beverly Hills, even the third one, which arguably ain't great, but still, I like all those movies. And that trailer dropped. Some more of that. I know we got we got like a teaser trailer like a month or two ago for Beverly Hills Cop. But now we get a full trailer, more in depth on the story and all that kind of stuff. So it was really good. So dug the shit out of that. The newest, by the way, if you guys are wondering why I'm like buzzing through topics, it's because tonight we're not doing like a full 2 hours. Okay, sorry, but the newest leak from Marvel. I don't know if you guys have heard this. Newest leak from Marvel that was leaked out by what is his name? He doesn't have a YouTube channel. He works for one of the entertainment magazines and puts out leaks, and he's been right like 99% of the time. Anyway, the newest leak from that he put out into the ether that he said he got out of Disney was that there will be a new 6-episode MCU show that's going to come out before Secret Wars. It is going to be something we have all talked about for several years now, and they are going to make this into a TV show, and it is going to be all about Captain America taking back the Infinity Stones. Each episode is going to focus on a different stone. It's going to have what's his face come back as Captain America, and it's going to be all that, and it's all going to be building up to Secret Wars.
Well, that's a really good play on their part, because people are hating the current MCU stuff, and people love Captain America.
Oh yeah, and it writes itself too. You have 6 stones, 6 episodes.
It ends with him returning to Peggy.
Yeah, I mean it's just common sense at this point. This is why everybody's been talking about it, is they should do a movie or this or that about him returning the stones and that adventure, blah blah blah. Why not make it a 6-hour television show? You do 1 episode for every stone that he returns. You know, each episode's its own little adventure of him returning the stone where it came from. Mm-hmm. That's great. That's perfect. It sets itself up beautifully. We already know the beginning and we know the end. We just want to see the middle. So you don't have to come up with some crazy ending. Like, we know how it ends. He ends up back after World War II with Peggy.
The thing that really be intriguing to see how they handle returning the Soul Stone.
Yes, and what happens to Black Widow if they do?
Yep.
That'll be interesting.
Well, see, they could have used her movie to say, "Oh, when the Soul Stone was returned, she's back alive."
They could have, but they didn't.
They could have, instead of making it a prequel, they could have said, "Hey, when you return the Soul Stone, the person that died comes back to life," and that could have been interesting.
Yeah. By the way, the Black Widow movie, which I actually like, I think it's a good movie, is the movie that we should have gotten instead of Captain Marvel as a prequel to those movies.
Yes. Captain Marvel movie was not necessary whatsoever. No. I've said it many times. The reason why that movie made $1 billion, they lied to everybody and said, you need to watch that movie before you watch Endgame.
Yeah.
Which was it's information for the movie, which was total bullshit.
Yep.
I mean, they're probably like, well, if you want to know who this woman is, Captain Marvel, you got to watch her movie before you watch Endgame because she's featured.
No, that's not how they phrased it. They said this is vital information.
I know, but that's what I'm thinking.
Yep. And there's nothing in that movie you needed to see at all.
No.
Nothing. There's not a single scene in that movie that was necessary whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, whatever. I don't know, man. If that's true, if they do a 6-episode Captain America story, I think that's great. I think that'll come out really well. I think that's something that everybody wants. I think it brings back some of that old school MCU feel to get people ready again, because there's already rumors that in Secret Wars, that we're getting Tony Stark back in Secret Wars. That's been leaked through multiple avenues that Robert Downey Jr. is going to come back. Obviously he's not going to do the version we know because that dude's dead. But much like I'm assuming, we're getting a different version of Wolverine in the Deadpool movie. We're going to get a different version of Iron Man, of Tony Stark. Rumors have already been swirling and have been for over a year now that there's going to be some other version in Secret Wars of Spider-Man, whether that's Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield. We don't know. The rumor mill seems to be it's more likely to be Tobey Maguire, which is fine. Either way, I'm fine with that. So they're going to, and I think the start of this is, where we're going to see a lot of this kicking in. A lot of the buildup to Secret Wars is going to be revealed in, of all things, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where we're going to see a lot of this stuff, with the different multiverses starting to collapse and the incursions and all these things that have been hinted at. I think we're going to get a lot of that. There's supposed to be just a shit ton of cameos in this movie, in Deadpool and Wolverine. And I think they're going to continue that all the way up to Secret Wars, to where they can reboot. If it's done right, I know I hear a lot of people complain all the time about, oh, this movie's just nothing but fan service. Dude, there's nothing wrong with that if it's done right.
No, the
nothing at all.
Fan services is nuts. There's
so many people like, this movie's just fan service.
People,
okay, and did was it a good story? Then who gives a shit if it's fan service? Like that's what Spider-Man No Way Home was. It was fucking great. I loved it.
That movie would not been nowhere near as good if it didn't have Andrew and Toby come in.
Exactly.
Oh, and Willem Dafoe killed it. He owned the movie.
Yeah, he killed it. All right.
So I got a question for y'all. This keeps on rolling around on the internet and social media. Do y'all think the roadie at Endgame was a Skrull? Because the secret. Okay, so y'all think that roadie at the Endgame was a Skrull?
Originally written, no, but they definitely retconned it with the secret.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it was totally retconned. Originally, it was written because if they had actually intended to do that, they would have done what they did with Secret Wars, which was have him already healed.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the main difference between the Skrull roadie and the one that is the real one. Is the real one still can't use his legs?
Yes.
Without help, without like fucking exosuit or some shit. But as we know, the one in Endgame was the same way. He couldn't use his legs.
Yes.
So,
okay.
But I think yes,
they were using
on it to where that one, the one in Endgame was the Skrull.
Okay. But I know they said they retconned it like, yeah, it's supposed to be the real roadie in Endgame, but then somewhere between Falcon Winter Soldier and Secret Invasion or Secret Invasion,
if they were smart, they would just forget about Secret Invasion because that shit series sucked.
Yeah. I could not stand watching it. I couldn't.
Would it be like in the universe where the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where it's an alternate universe type thing?
Yes, basically.
That was one of the worst.
Mm-hmm. Unnecessary, really. And it really diminished Nick Fury's character.
It did very much so.
Yeah.
He basically ruined his character.
Yeah.
And killed off a fan favorite, Maria Hill.
Yep. But hey, they'll probably bring her back as an android like they did Phil.
I don't know. I'm just wanting us to get through the handful of movies we got left and get to Secret Wars so we can reboot this whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
And let's give it a fresh start and see if we can make it good again. And I hope that's what they're moving to. Look, I mean, I'm not saying don't put any effort into it. I mean, we still, we got the Thunderbolts movie coming out. I hope that's good. I want it to be good. I want to enjoy it. Deadpool and Wolverine.
I just think casting Harrison Ford was such a mistake because.
Oh yeah, it totally was.
Definitely was.
He is just so wrongly cast as Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
Well, he's doing it. He's just mainly doing it for a paycheck nowadays.
I don't give a shit what he's doing. He exactly. He's doing it for a paycheck. He does not care about any character he plays.
No, he don't.
Yeah, I want them to be good. If they're good or not, whatever. I hope they are. I always want good comic book movies, but I hope they're good. But I'm more concerned with can they reboot it successfully and start making good movies again from scratch in a whole new rebuilt MCU.
With their current team of writers, I don't know.
Here's the thing though: the current team of writers is already getting replaced.
Yeah. The problem is, though, they still got the same shit that's the hiring process as they did before.
Well, yeah.
They need to get a complete, if they're going to reboot, they need to get a complete new team. Writing, directing, they need to get producers, they need to get people who work on CGI, special effects.
They need to get rid of their DEI department.
Yeah. I was trying to think of that word, but I could not think of it. Thank you. But they need to do that. But who do you start off with if you reboot it? Because you don't need to do Iron Man and Captain America again. Because that'd be just like, we're rebooting.
You don't do those movies again. You do have those characters.
You will have them again,
but you don't need to do Iron Man 1 and 2 and 3 and Cap 1, 2 and 3. No, you don't need to do movies from the beginning. You start doing Avengers movies is what you do. And you have those characters in there, but you do Avengers movies.
I know.
If you want to do one-offs, do a Ghost Rider movie, stuff like that. You focus on Avengers movies, you focus on X-Men movies, you focus on Fantastic Four movies, you focus on team movies with ensemble casts that work really well together. And for your one-offs, you know, you again, like you pick up on a I don't know, a Daredevil or a Punisher or a Ghost Rider or something like that, right? Some of these characters that are not going to be part of these teams.
If they weren't doing this ridiculous like Fantastic Four movie with the weird casting,
Pedro,
I would say the reboot should start with Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Yeah, except what we're hearing about that's not the Fantastic Four I want. But
no.
It's I mean,
I said that for a long time. I think the Fantastic Four should be the new center of the rebooted Marvel universe because they are family.
Or a redoing of the origin of Magneto. Set off the X-Men, start building with the X-Men.
that'd be a good idea. Yeah.
I think they're going to use the X-Men sparingly. I think they're going to use mutants a
Do
lot.
the story of Charles. I know they did first the X-Men First Class. Do something like that, but closer to the comic stuff.
Yeah.
I like this. Republic's got a comment for you, Matt.
Marvel and Disney are going to keep screwing this up. They will probably have a decent movie sometimes. Their ideology won't allow them to change course. We'll see. I mean, it's going to ultimately come down to what do they care more about? You know, do they care more about money? Then they'll stop doing their shit eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they just had another bad quarter. Like, horrible, awful, lost billions of dollars.
Yep.
So at some point, they are either going to stop and start making good shit that people want to watch again, or they're just going to stop, period, because they're not going to be making enough money to be making this shit anymore.
I can recommend you guys a film to watch, and it's on YouTube.
Is it the one about the plastic man in the lube?
No.
Okay, I'm just checking.
No, this is it's a fan film. It's Logan the Viking.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was the one that told you about that.
Logan and the Viking?
Yes, I posted it all over Toy Tubers like a week ago.
Okay.
I told Jared. And I said, you need to watch this movie. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah. I didn't know. I forget stuff. X-Men
Right.
7 did not save Disney. It didn't save it, no.
No. X-Men 97 is great.
The best thing they put out thus far.
But it's not exactly something that, like, I mean, relatively speaking, not a lot of people have watched it.
Mm-mm.
The final episode apparently is done really well, though.
So, I mean, it's done okay for Disney Plus being one of the many streaming services that are out there.
Well,
It has
plus,
not saved Disney, though. It has showed that they can still write really good shit in the Marvel Universe. It's been
my
a great
question is,
example.
how affected are the numbers of a lot of these shows now? The fact we got places like the website.
Mhm.
Because
Probably.
I don't have Disney Plus, and I watch Disney Plus.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't have it either. I don't pay for any streaming services.
I pay for two. I got Netflix.
I pay for Amazon, but I don't. That's not why I pay for it. I don't pay for Amazon for the streaming.
Oh, no, it was years before I even started watching Amazon. I paid for it for years before I even started watching Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
especially like
I do have that, but
It does free shipping on stuff like items you purchase. It is free shipping. Yeah, that's why.
well, if you have set up your account and say you're a student, they let you keep that student rate for a long time. I had it for, I don't know, almost 10 years. We're like, we don't think you're a student anymore. We're going to give you a regular rate now.
yeah, that's the only one I pay for. I mean, we have. Which one do we have?
The student rate's like $50.
Yeah, I think we have Peacock, but we have that because we get it free with Walmart Plus. So it's the same thing, right? Like we pay. We have Walmart Plus, not for fucking Peacock, but you know we have Peacock because it comes free. But we don't pay for any streaming services. I did that for a very long time. I supported all these streaming services for a very long time. I have paid for Netflix since 2005. 2005, 2006. I can't remember exactly when we first got Netflix. I've had Amazon since 2000 and Amazon Prime since 2009-ish, 8 or 9. You know, I was one of the people that bought Disney Plus before it was even out. You know, you pay for the year in advance when they announced it, right?
So they fudged their numbers for a long time. Everybody that was signing up for Verizon phones were getting like free year of Disney Plus. So they were counting that as like a sale on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Even though like you were getting it for free.
Here's a good comment by Jerry Johnson. Hollywood only cares about how much money they make. They just keep on putting out more CGI explosions and paste it.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes I don't mind. I watch the Fast and Furious movies. Those are fucking just mindless fucking bullshit movies, right? But I still enjoy it. If it's done well, I don't give a shit about CGI explosions and shit. If it's done well.
Well, look how much that series has changed too. It started out they were stealing like DVD players and electronics.
Now they're super spies saving the world. Yeah,
and they have like superpowers. Yeah. Dominic Toretto can punch through concrete.
Yeah, you punch through concrete. Apparently, with his foot, he can collapse an entire fucking
bridge. Yeah, hold up a 500-pound engine with one hand.
Yeah.
Jen says, I remember getting that free Disney Plus messages from Verizon. No thanks. It wasn't even free.
Yeah. No, I paid for all that stuff for a really long time. I gave these motherfuckers a ton of my money. And at a certain point, I was just like, you know what? I'm done. I can watch this stuff other places. I'm tired of paying them money for crappier service too, by the way. Like, especially with Netflix. Like, Netflix, like, I spend a lot of time on my computer, right? I watch a lot of the TV shows and movies and things that I watch on my computer, not on my TV. Okay? And they downgrade everything. Like, they downgrade the quality to watch on your computer. If you don't watch through their apps where they optimize the picture, you don't even get the quality of picture you're paying for. You're not getting full HD. Usually you're getting like 720 if you're watching on the computer. So why am I paying for that shit? You know, why was I paying the 4K rates for fucking Netflix when I'm not getting 4K? Yet I can go to a website and actually get 4K full HD and I'm not paying anything.
Yes. Yes, Jen, we agree. Buy toys instead of paying subscription services. Yeah.
This is the stupidity with the windowless boxes where you can actually touch the figure. They have packaged gears with his chest piece off to keep people from stealing it.
Yeah.
Because you can actually, it comes in a little baggie, the chest piece. It's a little friction clip. You can actually pull the chest off. Then you got to do stuff like that instead of putting a stupid fucking window on the box where people keep from stealing it. They got to disassemble the figure to.
Yep.
It's stupid.
They're a bunch of tards.
Just put the window back on the box.
They're trying to find ways.
I know this isn't Toy Chat or anything. That's Friday nights. But did y'all see the new Bobby Valla video?
No.
No.
Oh, so Bobby Valla's like, "Oh, I bought G.I. Joe and Marvel Legends. Are they worth it?" And then it's just him, like, just bitching and moaning the entire time about how bad these figures are. When everything he's bitching about is the same stuff that's wrong with his figures.
Yeah. I know. I've maybe watched.
It was such a bad video, dude. He's like, he bought the what's it called? The 40th anniversary military figure, the deluxe one. That's like
they like honoring the actual military vet figures.
Yeah, he got that and was like, "Oh, it comes with all these pouches that just." And he was like literally doing this stuff. I can't get the pouch to go on the vest. What the? And I'm like, are you retarded?
Your Wave 1 shit, you couldn't even button the vest together. You had to take a Dremel and drill out the holes to make his vest work.
And
he's like, oh, the helmets, the pouches don't fit in the helmet. It's a good looking helmet, but it doesn't fit right. Like, I'm like, bitch, do you know how many times I've lost the hat and sunglasses to your fucking shitty ass Sergeant Slaughter because you couldn't make that shit fit right?
I know.
Yeah.
I've got version 2, Sergeant.
He made the hats out of super hard plastic where they won't stay on.
Yeah.
If he made it softer plastic and a little bit smaller,
Like
it would snug right on.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, he's got the right talk though too, because if one remember,
That's some awesome gears.
It was just a ridiculous video. He was like, I bought a bunch of Hasbro stuff. Now I'm going to sit here and bitch about it. Like, oh, okay.
We also remember when Wave 1 came out too. A lot of people reported breakage on their figures and had to get them replaced.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So
We talked about that last night. With like they had to do a PSA, heat your figures up and work your joints and with the plastic silicone.
Yeah, I remember that because y'all went up because y'all were talking about NECA. I didn't get a chance to watch it last night because I was asleep. But I
you were on last night too. That's right.
Me and the
He was
wife.
off playing with plastic, man.
No,
You got some friction. You got some got something stuck in plastic man's arm, and then had to go to the emergency room or something other. I think.
Yeah.
No.
Remember it was.
Me and the wife, we came down with a stomach bug last night, so I had to rest and everything, drink plenty of fluids, but not entirely 100%. But I'm doing a whole lot.
Yeah, I got drinking a lot of fluids after playing with your plastic man.
Yeah. Wore himself out with that plastic man.
But I do appreciate the 2 mentions I got last night from y'all. Especially Matt saying, "Don't do it, JB. Don't do it."
Yeah.
I appreciate the messages from you guys though.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you know what I did? I finally finished, and I can now say I have completely watched because I never watched all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I can now say I have watched now every episode of Smallville, which I never did the first time around. I realized as I was rewatching it that I know I had watched all of season 1, 2, and 3, and then I know I had watched all of season 9 and 10. And then I think between like seasons 4 and 8, I would just like occasionally dip in and watch an episode because those middle seasons, like I know for a fact I had not watched half of that shit. So I have officially now, I spent like the last month and a half binge watching 10 seasons of Smallville.
Go ahead.
What? Well, no. Can I just say that in the end, it is completely Clark and his parents' fault that Lex Luthor becomes a bad guy.
Yes.
100%.
Yep.
Like, it is mostly his parent. Well, I mean, Clark does it too, but Clark does it because his parents spend the entire first 3 seasons while they're friends, every chance they get, telling him you can't trust Lex and he's a bad guy and he's this and he's that and whatever else and you can't share anything with him and you can't tell him this and you can't trust him and he's always got a motive. When at first when they're friends, like Lex just gives a shit about Clark. He's not doing anything fishy. He's not doing anything wrong. He's trying to be Clark's friend, and Clark, because of his parents mostly, never trusts him and lies to him all the time and all this shit. Mm-hmm. Had he just been a good friend to him like he was to, Lana and Chloe and everybody else, Lex never would have become a fucking villain.
Yep. And
as I'm watching that shit, I'm like, it's totally fucking Clark's fault that fucking Lex Luthor becomes a villain in that show. Because Lex Luthor starts off that show for the first several seasons trying to become the opposite of his father. Mm-hmm. Trying to be a good person. And like understanding that his father's evil and corrupt and all this stuff. At one point he puts his dad in jail, like at the end of season 3 or 4 or whatever it is. I think it's 3. He puts his dad in prison. He digs up dirt on the bad things his father's done and puts him in prison. Not to fucking try and gain control of the company, but because it's the right thing to do and all this shit. Like, Lex starts out as a good guy in that show, trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And Clark just fucks him over time and time again throughout that fucking show. Until finally he's just like, fuck it, I'm a bad guy. You know what I mean?
I've got the entire show on DVD, like the whole set, and then actually going to get to meet the actor of Lex Luthor next Saturday at Comic-Con.
Oh, sweet.
Michael Rosenbaum, he is like one of the best Flashes too.
Oh, by far.
Justice League Unlimited.
Yes.
I've been a fan of his for a long time.
I like the podcast he does.
I've been watching that. Well, I actually started watching that podcast before it was a podcast. He used to do a show on Stitcher. And I think I've watched almost every episode of that.
That's a great comment, Name. Smallville creator should have just stuck to Lex going bad because of his hair. That's a good comment. Adventure comment number 279 was when Lex lost his hair. If I'm correct. If that's right, Adventure Comics number 279 was when Lex Luthor lost his hair.
I mean,
I think.
Ooh. Well,
this is a genuine question. I'm asking y'all to. Y'all read more comics than me, so.
What is that? Why? Yeah, that's why. Originally, that's why he hated Superman. In the original, like pre-crisis version, like if I remember right, so Lex Luthor, because it didn't go back to when they were kids. Lex was already like, I can't remember. Was he already an evil scientist? I can't remember if he was already an evil scientist or that's what made him an evil scientist. But he was a scientist, and he was doing something with some kind of X-rays or something like that, and he was doing an experiment. And I don't remember if he was trying to shoot the rays at Superman or if he was shooting them at something else and Superman flew by, but the rays bounced off of Superman and came back and hit him and made him lose all his hair. And he hated Superman from that point on because he made him lose his hair. Like that was in the original old school, like back in the 1930s or 40s or whatever it was. That's what it was. And he didn't know Clark as a kid or anything like that. This happened when they were adults and Superman was already Superman. And yeah, he was shooting some kind of X-rays or some kind of scientific ray and it hit Superman. It bounced back on him and made him lose all his hair. And then he became a villain. He became a villain because he went bald. That's
Billy.
essentially what it was. It was very simple. They obviously made it much more complex after Crisis, when he came back and he was like a billionaire, and which is to me is when Lex Luthor got way more interesting. The original Lex Luthor from the 40s and 50s and 60s was not that interesting, as just like he's just a mad scientist essentially is all he was. But when they really played up after Crisis into the whole, he's not just a mad scientist, he's an incredibly smart, talented billionaire who's an engineer and a scientist and all this stuff. Like they really bumped him up to be a good, what's the word I'm looking for? But like the other side of the coin from what Superman is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A true like villain to Superman that was capable in a lot of different ways.
Well, it's very much like the kind of like the Hulk and the leader. You got brains and brawn type thing.
Yeah,
intellect versus strength.
Yeah, and it was just and when he was a scientist, yeah, he was smart and he's always coming up with ways that whatever that he could thwart Superman. But
Luthor is still like one of the most the smartest humans on the planet in like the DC universe.
Yeah. And when they made that change,
antagonist, what you were looking for.
Crisis, it was much better. I liked Lex Luthor became a much better character. There was a lot of stuff that post Crisis wasn't better, but Lex Luthor was one of the things that was. One of the things I didn't like post Crisis was I didn't like post Crisis Krypton. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things I actually didn't like about Smallville either. Because it took too much from the fucking Superman movie, the 78 Superman movie, where everything's a fucking crystal. Like, no, why is everything gotta be a fucking... I get it's an alien world, but what's with all the fucking crystal shit? Everything's a fucking crystal and everything's fucking white. And like post-Crisis, when if you read that Man of Steel miniseries, which is actually really good, but I just didn't like the aesthetics of what they did with Krypton and the clothing. Everybody's wearing fucking hats with like crystal crowns and shit, and everything's a fucking crystal. It's like, look. Like I read all the stuff from like the 60s and 70s, and when they would do stories about Krypton was a very, very bright, colorful, vibrant society. Yes, it was advanced and it was different than Earth, but
they retconned it back to, in Post Crisis, they actually retconned Krypton to be more like classic Krypton too, because end up being like the whole like weird like suits and crystal thing was just a if I remember correctly, it was the Eradicator, like false information.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I don't remember that, but good, because yeah, I didn't like that shit. It just aesthetically, to me, it was not anywhere near as interesting. It made the Kryptonians come off as just a very cold, calculated race, and I guess that's fine to an extent, but there was a lot more to them than that, you know. Because I like I said, Krypton, going back and doing stories about Krypton was a very popular thing to do in the 1960s, which was a lot of the comics that I had grown up reading was the old 1960s stuff, and it was cool. That was a cool, when they would do a story about Krypton, whatever it was, and they would do a story about Jor-El and Laura and whatever, right? It was cool to see that alien society. It was very interesting, but there was also a lot of similarities in just people interacting with each other. So there was a level of understanding of how that society worked, but yet it was far more advanced than Earth. And then after they rebooted everything with all that Man of Steel shit, it was just like, oh, Kryptons are cold, calculated bullshit species that are really smart and really advanced, but they have no fucking personalities, and everything's a goddamn crystal. And I was just like, that's fucking annoying. Anyway, let me get a couple super chats here. Kowloon says, read the last chat. I know it wasn't a Superman show. Your last chat, he says, I remember watching Smallville off and on for 10 years, thinking they were going to transition Clark into Superman. It was like a decade of being blue-balled. Yeah, well, I knew that was going to happen.
Well, they said from the get-go they would never do that. That they would end the show. The runners of the show said that's how they would end the show once he puts the suit on.
Yeah. And they did that. I didn't have a problem with it. The only thing that I think, as I watching the show, and I finally got through it all, the only thing that was, I don't even want to say it was annoying, it was just different than the comic books, was that there was a lot of the things that he did before he actually puts on the suit that in the comics he had already been Superman when he did those things.
Yeah, the whole Doomsday thing is like, yes, it's one of the best looking Doomsdays we ever had on screen.
Yeah.
But it's a Superman story, not a pre-Superman story.
Yeah. There was just a lot of things, like him coming in, Metallo, and it introduced a lot of characters and a lot of things. Yeah. But it's like, okay. Now, granted, when they introduced a lot of that stuff, he was already, quote unquote, the Blur. So he was already wearing the red and blue, and he was going out as the Blur, as a superhero and doing those things. But he wasn't technically Superman yet. But,
really?
I don't know. I still thought the show was great. I really liked it. I enjoyed the shit out of it. It was very entertaining. I was definitely glad when they got away from the meteor,
that got tiresome in the show, where all the villain of the week were meteor-based, kryptonite-based powers. Like,
yeah, you remember Amy Adams was in the show too.
She was in the first season. There was a bunch of people in that show that went on to be famous afterwards.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and by the way, what's his name? Justin something. I can't remember. The dude who played Green Arrow. Fucking great job as Green Arrow.
Yes.
He did a fantastic, look, I like the Stephen Amell Arrow show a lot, but let's be honest, he was basically playing Batman. Yes. Right? That dude, I'm blanking on his name, the actor's name, did like a phenomenal comic book Green Arrow in that show. Yep. He did a great Oliver Queen. And it was fantastic. I loved it. I thought they did a fantastic job with that. He was one of the best characters on the show. I think he shows up in like season 6. The first couple seasons, he's just like a guest star, but then by season 8, he's a regular on the show. But yeah, fantastic job. They did They did a really good job. Worst thing about the show is Lana Lang. I hated her.
God, yeah, her character is so annoying. I don't know if it's like the producers like let her like input on the show or what, but they kept inputting her character in stories that just did not freaking belong.
She had no business being on the show after like season 5. Yet she stayed on the show till season 8. And there was no reason for it.
As soon as they introduced Lois, they should have got rid of her.
Yes. They totally should have. Because here's the thing. In the comics, Lana Lang is a very likable character.
Yes.
She is somebody, she was, I can't remember if it was her or what's his name? What's his best friend's name in high school?
Pete.
I can't remember if it was her or Pete, but the two of them were the first people he told when he was in high school. And he and she fucking was loyal to him. And even when they were no longer dating, she knew he was Superman. She kept his secret. She remained one of his best friends for his entire life.
Yep.
He was a loyal friend and ally who helped him when she could. And she was a good character in the comics. And in this show, she fucking sucks. Bad. Like, she is an awful character. Like, you're just watching this show and go, what? Like, the first several seasons, I'm just going, why do you give a shit about her? Go hook up with Chloe. Like, she's a way.
That's what everybody said.
She's a better friend. Like, she's nicer. Like, she's in love with you. Like, what the shit do you give a shit about?
Apparently, she's a freak in the sack too.
Apparently, got all into a cult and shit. But
got into the sex cult.
I was going to mention this about Tom Welling. The only reason why he done the show was because he asked them before he signed on, "Am I going to have to wear the suit?" And they told him no. It's before he becomes Superman. So that's the only reason why Tom Welling joined and stayed on, was because he knew he wasn't going to get to wear the suit. And even in the end, he doesn't wear the suit. They CGI him. They give him the shirt.
He puts on a shirt, but yeah.
Yeah, the shirt.
Other than CGI, you never see him like below here with that on.
Pretty much, yeah.
And every shot they have of him, it's for him like far away saving a plane, and he's like this big on the screen and stuff. But
I one scene in that show that always stuck out to me was when he meets himself in the future when he's already established as Superman. I don't know why. I always liked that little interaction between them.
Yeah. Let me get the super chat here. Totally ATF says, Les keeps digging into how Clark saved him from drowning, and the Kents didn't want him finding out that they illegally adopted Clark.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't remember them ever. I just watched it. I don't remember them giving a crap that they illegally adopted him. He went around telling everybody he was fucking adopted. Everybody knew he was adopted.
Well, they didn't want him to look into the adoption records because it was all fraudulent.
Yeah. But like, yeah, I mean, he tells Pete, he tells Chloe, he eventually tells Lana, he tells everybody, and then Lex just finds out after he's fucked him over for years. But yeah, he dicked, and mostly because of his parents, he dicked Lex around. And look, Lex was curious about how he saved him, but like
for a while, like he even had the car, had the car to a secret place so he could study it and find out.
And then he takes Clark there and says, "Look, I have to be honest with you. I've been looking into this because, you know, you're my friend, and this happened, and I don't know how it happened, and I think there's something special about you, and I wish you would just trust me because I give a shit about you." Like, Lex was really fucking honest with him. Like, really fucking honest with him. And he was like, "Oh, you betrayed me." And it's like, dude, you fucking totally turned him into a villain. That's all your fucking fault, dude.
Do you remember Lex's ending speech to Clark at the end of the show? Like, if you look at history, the great men and women have always been defined by their enemies.
Yeah. Yeah, that's in the very last episode when he comes back. Yeah.
Yeah, I always liked that interaction between the two.
It was good, yeah. And then, of course, Lex gets his memory erased.
Yeah, which was a terrible idea. I get why they did it.
I get why they did it, because they couldn't leave the show with Lex knowing who Superman was. Like, it made sense because once Superman puts on the suit, Lex doesn't know Superman is Clark. Spoiler alert for anybody that has never, ever watched or read anything Superman. But so I get why they did it, but yeah, it was kind of a little too convenient.
Kind of like a Lois Lane situation, Superman 2, where we had to make her forget with the kissing with the tongue. We have to make her.
Oh, have you ever watched the adult Robot Chicken?
Yes.
There's a little skit. It's like when he makes Lois forget who he is. It's like, well, I don't know. He uses power more often. He goes to the Lex and kisses Lex.
Lex, Darkseid. He goes to Solomon Grundy and Brainiac, kisses them all. He's like, "Ooh, I should have used this. I should."
And it's like playing like love music anytime like shows up and starts kissing his bad guys.
He's like, "I'll run my fingers through your hair and I'll kiss you, bro, and you won't remember a thing." I love that clip. I have that on DVD.
Let me get this other super chat. Matt, I saw in Geeks and Gamers chat, people were alley to comment on super chats. Have you seen this? I definitely haven't. What?
I didn't see any super. I was looking through and I didn't see any more other than those.
They were alley. I'm not understanding the question. In the Geeks and Gamers chat, people were alley to comment on super chats.
People were, let's see, in a Geeks and Gamers chat, people were commenting. I don't know why he put alley. I don't know why he put alley. I mean, probably comment on super chats. I think he might have meant your gun. I think he might have meant your Geeks and your Guns and Geeks chat. Maybe that might be what he's referring to. I think.
No, because Geeks and Gamers is another fucking channel that we've talked about before that he watches.
I can't remember. I don't know.
I don't know exactly what you mean, sir. So I don't know how to answer that question.
Dart's got a good comment. You think Lex would figure out Kent is Superman? He's a genius. Yeah, you think he would be. You think he would.
Well, and he did. Like, if you watch the show, like, he totally, like, multiple times was like, man, I know something's going on here. But something would then always happen, and conveniently Clark would, like, get close to kryptonite, and so he could get hurt again. So then that would, like, prove to Lex that, no, he's not. He doesn't have superpowers, I guess. Like, some random thing.
Oh, okay. This was his question. He said, I saw in Geek and Gamers chat, were people able to chat on a comment on the super chats? Is what he said.
I've not had anybody tell me anything about them not being able to comment on a super chat.
Yeah, so. That was the question. He put able on here, so he was adding to it. He did a typo error.
Oh, I know it's not the toy chat, but Hasbro Pulse has got some good deals on right now.
Oh, they do.
I've been seeing some people post some stuff.
The female Hydra and Shield Agent 2-packs, they're like $27 right now.
Oh, really?
Yep. And the Crimson Guard 3-pack with Baroness almost and Zymots is $47. And I'm getting ready to order Nighthawk and Blur for $27. I'm getting the Shield 2-packs and all those. It's like, hey, they're cheap.
I'll probably get me a couple of those deals hopefully next week.
They'll be gone by then.
So there was one figure you guys talked about last night that was from Loose Collector. It was over $300.
Oh yeah, the horse fucking whatever it was.
They made a statement too. They're talking about their licensing partners. Reason why that's so expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was like, that's but no, I did put a comment saying I apologize, I cannot be there.
They actually don't have on that particular item. They don't have as much control and price on that.
I mean, I agree with y'all. It did look good. I mean, if it wasn't over $300, then yeah, I probably would buy it.
It was cool, but not for that price. That's the
price of Hot
way.
If you're gonna pay over $200, you might as well get a Hot Toys.
Apparently, for the Furiosa family charges a lot for licensing.
Okay. So Vulcan says occasionally I have to shut down YouTube and restart to make comments. You do? What? You do? I've never heard about this. Yeah.
YouTube screws up a lot.
Yeah, they do.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for today. I told you we weren't going to go a full 2 hours, but I thought we ran through everything. We went through all the topics.
Mm-hmm.
We got through everything tonight. We'll be back next week. We are going to start doing this later though on Saturday night, so it'll start being around 8:00 my time instead of when I was doing it earlier. So, but we will be back next week. We got the toy chat on Friday. We got geek chat on Saturday. Jared's got his. You're doing Thursday this week, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So he's doing Sunday and Thursday. Whip it good. But that's going to do it for today. Over on the NEA channel, we'll see you guys on Monday. Everybody enjoy your weekend and your Memorial Day, not Labor Day, Memorial Day. Forget which holiday we're going into.
Memorial Day weekend, everybody. That's what we're trying to say.
Yes, it's Memorial Day weekend. So anyway, we're going to get out of here. We'll see you guys next time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And yeah, get the fuck out of here. Later.